Throughout the years in film editing, there is a major difference since the first film up until today. Film have been gradually getting better as the years pass by. Films are also becoming more creative and understanding to the audience, attracting a lot more attention, especially when colour TV was introduced.
The Lumiere Brothers. The first film ever to be released was released by the Lumiere Brothers. The pair created a machine called the cinematograph. The pair used their invention to create the world's first film.
The film was titled Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, which was exactly what it sounded like, simply a couple of guys filming people leaving a factory. Because this was the first time people were introduced to films, it was so much more exciting to people in 1895 than it is now. George Méliès. After watching the film, a magician named George Méliès spoke to the Lumiere brothers about buying a machine from them for 10,000 francs. Lumiere were not keen on this, as they would be in competition if anyone else had a machine like it. With that being said, they refused George's offer. George still wanted to be in the industry, so he bought himself an English version of the cinematograph called the animatograph for just 1,000 francs. Méliès had experience in mechanics, so reversed the mechanics in the animatograph, creating his own camera. The jump cut. In 1896, Méliès was in Paris shooting a bus. However, during filming the bus, his camera jammed. When he got it working again, the bus had gone and been replaced by a hearse. This is when the jump cut was born. Jump cuts were first used in Méliès films for disappearing and reappearing as shown. Edwin S. Porter. In April 1896, he invented the Beadnell film projector. He operated his own equipment for a few years until 1900s when he joined Edison Manufacturing Company. He went on to become head of production for Edison Skylight Studio in 1901. For the next 5 years, he was Edison's director and cameraman. Porter was the first filmmaker to get shots from different angles, also known as continuity editing. The first movie to ever show narrative progress with the advent of each new scene was The Great Train Robbery. D.W. Griffiths. Griffith aspired to be a writer and sent a script in to Porter. Porter didn't want to turn it into a film due to there being too many scenes. However, Griffith was hired by Porter to act in one of his films. Soon after, Griffith became a film director at Biograph Co. The first film Griffith directed was The Adventures of Dolly in 1908. He directed over 450 films for Biograph Co. between 1908 and 1911. In 1908, Griffiths introduced the cut-in, jumping from one side shot to another, e.g. in The Greaser's Gauntlet he cut from an establishing shot to a long shot. Griffiths carried on experimenting with cameras and developed continuity editing. He introduced things like the 180-degree rule, parallel action, establishing shots, reverse shots, and match-on action. His first major film cost $2.5 million to make, and the original cut version was 8 hours long. For release, Griffith came to his senses and shortened it down to 3 hours. Sergei Eisenstein. Eisenstein believed that film montage could create ideas or have an impact beyond the individual images. 2 or more images edited together create a tertium quid that makes the whole greater than the sum of its individual parts. Eisenstein's greatest demonstration of powerful montage comes in the Odessa Steps level, montage 1925 film, to manipulate the audience's perception of time by stretching out the crowd's flight down the steps to 7 minutes, several times longer than it would take in real life. Lev Kuleshov, a Soviet filmmaker, was among the first to dissect effects of juxtaposition. Throughout his experiments and research, Kuleshov discovered that depending on how shots are assembled, the audience would attach a specific meaning or emotion to it. In his experiment, Kuleshov cut an actor with shots of 3 different subjects: a hot plate of soup, a girl in a coffin, and a pretty woman lying in a couch. The footage of the actor was the same expressionless gaze, yet the audience raved his performance, saying first he looked hungry, then sad, then lustful.